Thank you, Unity Band. You know, we're pretty physically distanced here, so I'm going to take this off, and that's going to mess up my sound level. But my glasses keep steaming up this morning because it's so cold. So we have the air exchange unit on. That's that little fresh breeze that you feel going by. I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum. I want to welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing. And our first priority is staying safe right now. So everybody is wearing masks, and some of you are viewing us from home, keeping physically distanced. And wherever we are physically, we are all together in heart and in consciousness. Seems to be always changing in this world recently. So do check us out on social media, our website, or always phone the church to check what's going on, just in case conditions change, as they seem to have a tendency to do. And if you're new to Unity, please connect with me. Send me an email, or my phone number's on the website if you want to give me a call and just chat, any questions, or just let's make that human connection. So we like to begin with a prayer for health and wholeness, because this is what we are affirming for ourselves, our friends, our neighbors, the world, actually, every day. So let's affirm together. I am in the flow of health because I am a perfect manifestation of divine mind. Disease is not a natural state. I let go of any dis-ease and let spirit carry on its perfect work in me. I am constantly guided in ways that will support every cell of my body in harmonizing with wholeness. I am strong, vibrant, filled with life, and so it is. Amen. And just feel that in your body. Feel those little happy cells dancing around, energized. Our mission is to spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, each other, and all creation. And this comes out of our vision statement of seeing a world powerfully transformed through a growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Because we really embrace the concept of shared spiritual awakening, not having the right and perfect path, but that broader scope of understanding each other and honoring all paths to God, I'd like to begin with an affirmative prayer honoring some of those many paths. So we affirm: the enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. And so as we settle into this opening of hearts in a communal situation, we are going to bring us together a little bit more as we sing together in prayer. Greg?
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
We like to hold our neighbors in prayer wherever they are around the world. Right now, this morning, my heart goes out to the East Coast and the icy rains and snow, and I'm so grateful. I'm in Michigan right now. Really grateful for that all the hostages were released from the synagogue in Texas last night. There's a lot going on in our world, and there's this tidal wave from Tonga that went over the South Pacific. So we have lots of our neighbors to pray with. And tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day, and I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to have him pray with us today? So courtesy of YouTube, this is from 1957. He was starting a Billy Graham rally. So we'll just let him take us there this morning.
Let us pray universe has been created, toward whom the weary and perplexed of all generations turn for consolation and direction. We come before thy presence this evening, thanking thee for the many blessings of life. We come recognizing our dependence on thee. We also come, O God, with an awareness, the fact that we have not always given our lives to that which is high and noble. In the midst of all of the high and noble aspects of justice, we followed injustice. We stand amid the forces of truth, and yet we deliberately lie. We stand amid the compelling urgency of the Lord of love as exemplified in the life of Jesus Christ. And yet we live our lives so often in the dungeons of hate. For all of these sins, O God, forgive. Then these days of emotional tension, when the problems of the world are gigantic in extent and chaotic in detail, give us penetrating vision, broad understanding, power of endurance and abiding faith. Save us from the paralysis of crippling fears. Though God, we ask thee to help us to work with renewed vigor for a lawless world and for a brotherhood that transcends race or color. We thank thee this evening for the marvelous things which have been done in this city through the dynamic preaching of this great evangelist. We ask thee, O God, to continue blessing him, give him continued power and authority. As we listen to him tonight, grant that our hearts and spirits will be open to the divine inflow.
Amen. Now, how do I go past this? Okay. Do I do what? Hit the start key?
Sharon, I can go work on that.
Well, I love that we're many talented in this. So this is usually our, listening to that prayer, I'm just amazed how it seems so applicable for today. The emotional turmoil, and that's 1957. There were a number of us that were alive at that time. This is a time that we normally do, well, I'm not going to say normally. At one time we used to do Reach Out and Touch, and today what we're going to do is have a little discussion at the table. So the question that I'm going to throw out to you today is, we know what bad words are. Some of us may have even had our mouths washed out with soap at a time. Why they thought that was a good thing to do, I have no idea. So if we know what bad words are, what are good words? What comes to your mind when I say good words? You can talk among yourself. You at home, you can make a list or type it in on Facebook. What do you think your good words are? I'm going through that. What's a good word to you? That's it. Thank you, Greg. I bet you thank you is a really good word.
What was the question?
If you know what bad words are, what's a good word?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. I said, thank you, Greg. I know that's a good word. Namaste. Yeah. Fun there. Okay, well, let's take her up, up, up.
Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Oh. Okay. Good morning. I'm Sybil Spencer, your platform assistant for today. Today's daily word is rise, inspired by the prophet Ezra. Take action, for it is your duty, and we are with you. Be strong and do it. This is a perfect inspiration as we prepare for tomorrow's holiday to honor Martin Luther King Jr. Through time, there have been people who led lives that changed the world forever. Their words and deeds provided hope and inspiration for those who would carry forth their legacies of love, growth, and evolution long after they left this life. Their most powerful contribution, however, was their ability to inspire others to express their own divine purpose. As more and more people reach their highest potential, the whole of humanity ascends. Today, we honor those who have led lives of service, striving for love, truth, and justice. We take steps not just to commemorate their journeys and contributions, but to embark upon our own. We rise, grateful to contribute all we can to the growth and evolution of humankind. Let us affirm together, I rise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. This month, we are focusing on our core value of prayer, a daily practice for many of us. Prayer is a powerful tool available to each of us to co-create the lives our hearts desire. It brings us into alignment with the nurturing, compassionate essence of God within us. It strengthens our resolve and lifts us above apparent circumstances to a greater understanding and a more effective course of action. Prayer can never be used up. It can never be worn out. Prayer is always accessible and never out of reach. We celebrate the magnifying power of prayer that comes when we consciously join together in prayer. Day by day, prayer is our spiritual practice, raising us above our challenges into unifying solutions. Let us affirm together, we acknowledge, celebrate, and practice the transformative power of prayer. Sundays at 9:30, Unity offers salt sessions, Sunday adult learning times, featuring a wide range of topics with a variety of presenters. Several years ago, Lynn West led us in laughter yoga. It was a hit. Next Sunday, January 23rd, Lynn will join us from North Carolina to lead us once again in laughter yoga. Guaranteed to leave this session feeling lighter than when it began. Tuesday at 1 p.m. is a discussion and prayer group with Reverend Sharon as a follow-up to Sunday's messages. This is on Zoom and is open to everyone. On each table, there are several blue sheets with information about all of our small groups and special events, as well as general information about the center. Feel free to take one with you for easy reference. Unity is a tithing community. Each year, you are invited to nominate local charitable organizations which spiritually bless you and inspire you by the work they do. February 6th, we will vote for our choices, and we will make voting available for everyone who joins us virtually. The 3 organizations who receive the highest number of votes will each receive donations for 3 months. All the other nominees will receive a portion of our tithes for the 4th quarter of 2022. If you have a nomination you have not yet submitted, email Reverend Sharon with the information by Monday. Today, following this service, the SAGE team is meeting to schedule classes and other inspirational activities. If you can't join us in person, join us by Zoom. Thursday night, the tech team is meeting to review our website update. Everyone is welcome to these team meetings. Additional information on our activities and teams can be found on our website, Facebook, and our weekly e-news. If you have any questions or would like to sign up for the weekly e-news, leave a message with the church office or use the connections card on your table. Our musical inspiration today is being provided by our own Jeff English.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear, if I can change one life, that's what I came to do, 'cause I know that I am living love. Yes, I am living love. If I can heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear, if I can change one life, that's what I came to do, 'cause I know that I am living love. Yes, I am living love. Try as I might to find some earthly treasure to achieve, something to put my troubled mind at ease. Can't let it be. Every time I find salvation is the love in me. The more I give the world, the more that I receive. If I can heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear, if I can change one life, that's what I came to do, 'cause I know that I am living love, that I am living love. Yes, I am living love.
Yes, thank you. That's from our dear friend Daniel Nabid. I was telling Jeff when I was chair of Unity Worldwide Ministries Board of Trustees, I got to head a conference, and that was our theme song. Daniel sang for us there, so it means a lot. By the way, there was just one missing slide there in the announcements that Julie Ross is doing a sound healing workshop in 2 Saturdays. It's on the blue sheet on your table. Boy, I can't wait for it. I just want to lay and let that music just do the healing. Just feel that. Zoom only. Oh, okay. Oh, good. No?
He's going to be here. It'll be in person or Zoom. That's not what I heard.
Okay, in person and Zoom. Okay. If we have to, we can spread out on the tables. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it was Martin Luther King coming up, and all of us remember quotes from him. I think about words that have changed our life. And certainly with Martin Luther King, his I Have a Dream speech, it just still touches my heart about, seeing kids of all color being judged by their character, not their color. Just wonderful ideas in there. These words, like, years later, they're still with us and they're still meaningful, just like his prayer was today. And Jesus said, love God with all your heart, all your soul, your strength, your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, that takes all the books that have been written about spirituality and glops it into one sentence. If you have to remember anything, love, living love. And then how about nothing's impossible? The word itself says I'm possible. That's one for me. And you'll never guess who said that. Audrey Hepburn. Yeah. And what lies behind you, what lies in front of you, pales in comparison to what lies within you. That's Walt Whitman, and that's one that always sticks with me, because this thing sometimes seems so big and foreboding or strange or whatever, and I forget how much is available in here. And then this one that was scribbled on a piece of paper out in Portland, Oregon in the 80s, practice random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty. For me, that's just one of those things that it always kind of catches in my mind. Senseless acts of beauty, random acts of kindness, what really wonderful ideas to think about. And then, in the end, it's all good. If it's not good, it's not the end. And this is my go-to. When I can't figure it out, I always go to this one. And this one, though it was in a movie, it's been in a couple movies, it's been in lots of places, it originally came from Proverbs in the Bible, and so it was attributed to Solomon. They think he was very wise, so he must have written Proverbs with all those wise sayings in it. And even for you, maybe your white stone that you got for the year, that word might change your life. It's a touchstone for this year. And if you have your word and don't have your white stone, there are white stones over on the table, or anybody out there would be happy to mail you one. But words really do have an impact, really do have a powerful impact in our world. So this is our second week looking at Myrtle Fillmore's book, How to Let God Help You. She was one of the co-founders of Unity. And this series of chapters is really about affirmations and denials as the way to deal with any problem that comes up in our life. And we don't know what to do an affirmation or do a denial. She said, our use of affirmations must be orderly and consistent. Only steady, shining truth can accomplish what we want to accomplish. And I know when I hear those things, that sounds kind of boring. Why do I have to keep repeating it? Why can't I say it once and get on with it? Because I have been affirming things I don't want in my mind, and those things just keep going on a loop. So in order to override them, I need to get my thought train put on a different track. And she said that doubt divides the mind. Single-mindedness is a primary virtue in the use of affirmations. That we use our affirmations so that we can get that laser focus, so that those random thoughts floating all over, they just like kind of pop up like bubbles sometimes, interfering with where we want to go, that we just need to really concentrate, put an effort into this creative process called thought and affirmation. So last week we talked about the basic premise of spiritual science, if you will, is that there is only one power and one presence. That God is all and all is God. There's no place where God is not. Pretty simple concept, but very difficult to really grasp in total. Jesus said, the light is come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light. And that was always a little bit mysterious to me before I got into metaphysics. But this is the same thing that Myrtle is saying, that we know the truth in our heart, we have this tendency to embrace the darkness that is out here, the unknown that is out here. We think that this is real, the fears, the worries, like that, as opposed to letting those go and turning internally to that light of truth, that there is only one. Our senses are so persuasive. It just seems so real. And that's what gives us this misperception of what the truth is. So part of affirmations that we don't talk about too much is the other part called denials. And denials, that psychological term that we're in denial, that's what I'm talking about. A denial is a very simple technique to say, this idea does not have power over me. We deny that this is the primary power in our life. And when we do that, our old thought mind goes, what are you doing? You're praying and lying? You know, how are you going to get away with that? You're going to ask forgiveness for the lie? Sure, I'll go ahead and say it. This doesn't have any power over me. And your mind is going, you're lying, you're lying. And part of our spiritual growth is understanding why that is the truth. That the outer conditions have no power. We cannot control the outer conditions. This isn't about abracadabra, poof, things are the way we want it. This is about finding the truth of the way we perceive it. We get to label it. We get to make the story up about it if we need to have a story. And if we want to let go of the strife and the conflict that we're dealing with, it's about really letting go of all those outer appearances, no matter how convincing our five senses are, and realigning to that truth. There's only one power and one presence. It's called God. And this is not a new idea. Plato, how many thousands of years ago was he? It is demonstrated to us, he said, that if we are designed to know anything purely, we must be liberated from the body and behold things with the soul. Same thing Myrtle's saying. Same thing Jesus said. We need to let go of the sense world, to know things purely, to know the truth behind all things. You know, whenever we make a judgment on something, we have such a small window. Even if it's our lifetime, think of how small that window is in the whole course of time. We never get the full picture. We never get the full ramifications. We never get the full interactions of things. The appearance of things we take as if that's forever. This is how it is. It will never change. And then on top of that, we have the news stories. We have friends' opinions freely shared. We have family stories. And family stories are not just our family, but the human family. We have stories that we pass on and pass on and pass on until they start seeming like they're true, even though they were totally fabricated for, whatever reason along the way, fabricated in the sense of our understanding at the time. And there's also what's called race consciousness. This is the consciousness of all the human race. that we are, just like I'm always thinking about how cell phone calls are going right through me and websites are going right through my body, all this energy. Well, much bigger than that is the race consciousness. All the thoughts of all the thinking life on this planet is like this huge aura in which we live day by day. And since I don't know of anybody yet who is always awake, when we're asleep, there's these little cracks in the doors of our mind, and those race consciousness thoughts just take up residency. They have very good root system. And we don't even know where that thought came from. But my goodness, I'm thinking it, therefore it must be true. So never leave that unexamined thought. See where that thought came from. So denials. I brought my two little friends in here, the devil and the angel. They seem pretty non-threatening. The little teddy bears there. And there's Homer with the angel and the devil on their side. The denial is really how we detach our attachment to that which is not true. Reclaiming our power. Cutting the threads that are limiting us, that are binding us in this. And when we do that, we create this vacuum, and we know that nature abhors a vacuum, so you immediately want to follow denial with an affirmation. Because if this is not true, then what is true? Right? If this is not true, then what is true? So always fill up that vacuum before one of those race consciousness thoughts that you might not agree with slips into your way of being. The bottom line to affirmation denials, I think, for me, is that the essence of everything is life is life. So you do not do affirmations to harm life. You do not do denials to harm life, to limit anyone else or to limit any condition. You always want to align to the truth of life. Now, this gets real tricky when we start talking about diseases, cancer, the coronavirus, other diseases. And there was a lot of language around like fighting cancer, fighting the coronavirus. And what are we saying when we say that? Cancer and the virus are life forms. And if we start denying the presence of a life form, what are we telling our body, right? So what we do when we have those dis-ease conditions, it's not denying the presence of them, it's denying their right to take up residency within our body. That we will welcome them. You've blessed us with an experience that we're supposed to have, and you're free to move on. I support life, and I get to choose what life is within here. And sometimes we're more successful about it than others, but to get that basic concept that it's not about harming life of any kind, it's about getting things into an order, into a harmony. I want my body to work in harmony with itself. I don't want to have renters moving in that kind of upset the harmony of my condition. I want to see myself in the health and wholeness and the divine idea of life within my body, within the very cells of my body. So it's always about realigning ourselves to that idea of life. Myrtle Fillmore, in her healing process, pictured her organs, apologized for thinking they were sickly, apologized to them for ever thinking they were weak, and just affirmed. I mean, I am so grateful. And if you're doing homework from last week, it was about making your bed in the morning and just affirming it's a new day and blessing your body. And that just takes a few seconds. My body was so happy about that I appreciated it as opposed to ignoring it. Or, and boy, on cold days, it's really hard not to ignore your body. It's a cold. My fingers are cold. My nose is cold. Whatever that is. So Myrtle, who really steeped in this idea of healing, idea of the power of our words. This is a declaration that she wrote, and she used to be a school teacher in Ohio, so she has this beautiful prose with her. She says, to speak truth faithfully is a healing stream. Pure reasoning is a healing stream. Time and time again, she talks about this is a spiritual science. This isn't just poof and woo-woo stuff. There is a science and a logic to all of this. So this pure reason is a healing stream. Its strengthening flow makes all crooked places straight. As the shining force of the sun brings out the wealth of meadows, the beauty and fragrance of the rose, or the full corn to the husk, so shall the shining divinity of each of us call forth wealth, peace, health, and love, where all had seemed a wilderness of sorrow. Doesn't she paint a beautiful picture for us with that? That our shining light divinity is just like the sun growing things on our earth. We have those seeds planted within us that we can grow. Only steady, shining truth can accomplish this. So it's not like on Sunday you go, okay, got it. I'm right on line with these affirmations. I know the truth. And then Monday morning, you look at the news and you go, oh my God, look what's happening. Oh, I just want to stay under my covers and hide from all this. No, it's about denying the controlling power of those outer conditions and going back to the truth of your being. I want to tell you a simpler story on this. I mean, Myrtle's words are beautiful, but it takes a little while to think about them. There was this man who moved out to the desert, and he got to his home, and it was all dirt, and he went to the store, and he got a whole bunch of paint and painted his lawn green. And his neighbor said to him, why did you do that? And he goes, well, because everyone knows you can't grow grass in the desert. So every couple of months, he'd get some more paint, and he'd paint his lawn again. And invariably, when a neighbor, somebody come by or whatever and say, why did you paint your lawn green? He goes, well, because everyone knows you can't grow grass in the desert. Sounds like a logical thing to do. Well, finally, neighbor across the street took pity on him. He came over and he goes, okay, so why'd you paint it green? He goes, because everyone knows you can't grow grass in the desert. He says, let me ask you a question. What is the biggest sport in Vegas? And he thought a minute and he goes, golf. Okay. And where is Vegas? Well, in the desert. He says, why don't you plant grass then? He says, because everyone knows you can't grow grass in the desert. Now, it's so easy to see the logic of that grass courses, as we know, are filled with grass, and it's in a desert. I won't even get into whether it's good to have grass in deserts, but the whole idea that you can get stuck into this idea in spite of evidence to the contrary, that's when we get caught up into that outer appearances. We get caught up into that story that one time he was probably 8 years old and heard you couldn't grow grass in the desert. So he's convinced, so he keeps painting his yard and painting his yard. Another little Solomon piece of wisdom in Proverbs, as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. He believed this with all of his might, so he never went and planted that grass. Well, Myrtle tells us that every thought molds from the etheric essence of form symbol. What she's saying there is like, where is the thought before you have it? And once out of nothingness comes this thought, and out of the thought comes manifestation. Which symbol has a certain degree of temporary life, and by virtue of that life impresses itself upon the body. Wow. So these thoughts that we have that come out of nowhere, they get processed through our mind, out of nothingness, all of a sudden, had this impact on our body. The condition of error in which humanity finds itself at the present period is the result of ages and ages of wrong thinking. And she probably wrote that 100 years ago. I thought, smart woman. God, she saw the pattern back there. We haven't been able to wake up to it yet. And she says, as thoughts are things, before we can grow new concepts, we must clear away the old. Before we can grow new concepts, we must throw away the old. So we have concepts about age. We have concepts about others. We have concepts about fairness. From our point of view, it's always about our point of view. We have a lot of concepts that have solidified within our thinking and even have an impact on our body. Well before Jesus, well before Plato, well before a lot of the masters, old ancient wisdom was as above, so below, as within, so without. And this is what really the Fillmores were talking about in Unity. And Myrtle said that the mind is the great throne of omnipotence. Our mind, as part of God mind, is a great throne of omnipotence, all knowledge, all wisdom, all power, all presence. Good sits enthroned there, love sits enthroned there, life sits enthroned there. I never thought about that in our thinking, totally enthroned in our thinking, is the idea of love and life and goodness, enthroned right within us. We may approach the throne boldly. Wow. Think about that, approaching the throne of your thinking, going right down to those core truths within you of life, love, and goodness. That this is the truth of the world and part of experiences. So it's really a choice of ours whether we claim our inheritance as the creations of the one power and presence in the world, or whether we delve into an imperfect faith, a faith where there's doubts, a faith where there's rules, a faith where that if you're broken, you could be condemned to eternal hell for a temporal mistake. We get to choose where we're going to put our faith. Myrtle said that trembling with terror and apprehension, keeping one eye on the stock exchange or the pill business. I love the language, like through the teens and the 1920s. Keeping an eye on the stock exchange or the pill businesses, that's where our wealth and our prosperity is, our health, on those outer things. She says, take hold of the great mind. Take hold of that power that is present within you at any moment. Faith is we talk about that as one of our 12 powers, our 12 faculties, and it's really a very important faculty of mind and of our life. And she talks about faith as really demonstrating spiritual science. This is a science, the spiritual science, the spiritual logic of how things work. So there are these laws in the unseen plane. Things don't just happen by happenstance. The first one, again, I can't say this enough, there's only one power and one presence. God is the good. God the good. But when we have a limited mental atmosphere, is what she calls it, a limited mental atmosphere. That's a phrase I offer for you to take into conversation this week. Are you suffering from a limited mental atmosphere? That's when conditions seem really discouraging. That's when we've been sucked into the outer appearance. That's when we've been sucked into lack and separateness and suffering. And the other one of those laws that is so important is that God is no respecter of persons. God is principle. It does not favor your neighbor who won the lottery over you who gets a big heating bill, right? But it's so easy to get into that they are favored and I am not. They are favored and I'm on the bad list, whatever that might be for us. And that now is our only eternity. Right now, we are standing in the middle of eternity. So whenever we get caught up in the past or worry about the future, we bring us back to now, this holy instant. All of a sudden, there's a lot of stuff that drops away in it. And why those things are so important, not only for us, but for the world, because in truth, we are our brother's keeper. And if we have those misbeliefs about us, I guarantee you we have misbeliefs about others. That we look at others and see them as broken, or see them as limited, or see them just as others. And all of a sudden, what happens to there's only one power and presence. And we are part of it. So here's the plan. Myrtle gives this, this is just hysterical. There was a time, I don't know, I guess I can say this. I used to have underwear as a kid for every day of the week. There was Monday, Tuesday. The women are smiling because, okay. So you can picture this. And Myrtle, she said, some people have a plan that they do their prayers and affirmations denials. They go, Monday's a statement of being, Tuesday's denial of false appearances, Wednesday's a day of affirmation, Thursday's focus on absolute faith, Friday declare every word effectual working agent for good, Saturday declare themselves perfect in the art of understanding. And it goes behind everything. And then Sunday, shut up and listen. Wait in the silence. We're having all these conversations with God. Let us listen. I could see underwear with all those things on it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So, order is heaven's first law. There is an orderly progression of how things come into manifestation. And she talks about that the portals of our thought are guarded by these angels of affirmation and denials. And the important thing is, again, that whatever we believe, we also believe this about others. That's why it's so important to take care of our home, this internal thing with us, our internal thinking, because we are impacting the world. There's nothing that happens here that we have not participated in energetically by our thoughts to one degree or another. So whenever we have this error thought about this condition out there, think about this, and we want to change it. If we're resentful, we need to conquer that trait in order to heal. You cannot heal if you're resentful. I'm talking about emotional healing and physical healing. You're impatient or irritable, what you want is a restful attitude. You don't just want the irritant to go away. You want to transform that into something else. If you're sorrowful, God loves a cheerful giver, which means a giver of cheer. We all know how much fun it is to be around somebody who is sad or cranky or irritable. And we know how much we're more drawn to somebody who's cheerful and kind of fun and, might even give us a smile for the day. And there's other things, dishonest, fault-finding, belief in a devil or a wrathful God. I never saw a difference between them. If you got a God that's going to punish you for eternity and you got the devil, what's the difference? Belief that God favors a certain person, or that God is variable, that one day he elects you and the next day she takes things away from you, whatever that might be. Knowing that these are falsehoods and to align ourselves with the truth. So which thought to entertain? God mind, it's always good, it's always helpful, health-inspiring, peace-inspiring, and does no harm. Now our mind, the human mind, the race consciousness, feeds itself off reports of the senses, the opinions of others. It may be true and helpful, and it may be false and harmful. So for always to be aware, to question that thought, what is that coming from? And how important is a thought? Our mind, think about this, our mind sends messages through our nerves. And we have repeated thoughts that are inharmonious, that are energy draining. I'm so tired, it makes us more tired. Or I'm so lonely, makes us more lonely. We're setting up that very low vibration. It creates a chronic condition within us. But yet when we have repeated thoughts of God, think about when you think about words like love or kindness or helping, joy, you feel different. You can experiment with this for yourself, seeing which are the good words, which good words feel good when you say them or think of them. Not rocket science, this is spiritual science. So if you need a blessing, you need to decide what the blessing is and why you need it. So if you need a different attitude, listen to Spirit and be willing to follow the advice that you get. If you need more strength, acknowledge that God is your strength and your source, and that will help imbue you with that power. We get to have freedom of choice, and sometimes we do unwise experiments in life. We find ourselves not where we want to be. But in spite of that, in spite of what we call undesirable traits, and, we came up with undesirable because when we experimented and didn't like it, we figured the devil made me do it. Flip Wilson made a lot of money on that line. We don't want to take responsibility for making a mess. But in truth, even those things that just seem so awful, they're a great education for us. We get to have that experience. As Ram Dass said, start from where you are, not from where you wish you were. The work you're doing becomes your path. So we're going to go down that path today in a little time of meditation. Greg's going to sing us into it with a beautiful new song. You're welcome to sing along.
Hallelujah, a word of praise, a word of praise to my God. Hallelujah, a word of praise, a word of praise to my God. Hallelujah. God, hallelujah, a word of thanks, a word of thanks to my God. Let every breath I breathe be sacred. Let every word I speak be true. Let every song I sing be holy and only bring me close to you. Hallelujah, a blessed day, a blessed day with my God. Hallelujah, a blessed
a blessed day with my God.
I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And just sit in the vibration of those words we just sang. A word of praise, a word of thanks, a word of blessing, a very high healing vibration that resonates with the very cells of our bodies. A vibration that lifts us up into that realm of faith, into that throne of the divine mind, the throne where sits life, love, goodness within us. This moment has boldness in it. As we give ourselves permission to access that throne, to lift all of our thoughts into that seat of reverence, that seat of omnipresence, of omniscience, of omnipotence. So take a deep breath in. We allow the shackles of illusion, of fears and concern, the limitations of brokenness and misperceived illness, simply return to the ethers, the nothingness from which they came. As we bless that energy in our release, like a wave that comes back, we get to welcome it again in its new form, in its truth form. Internally, in our minds, in our hearts, every day, every moment, we become more and more awake to the truth that we get to choose. We get to choose which thoughts we entertain and which thoughts appear to entertain us. We get to choose the path so that we may not only bring ourselves into the expression of full potential, that we can also lift up humanity by seeing the truth for every person we encounter, for every person we think about, for every condition that we might label, for every possibility that appears to be before us. The faculty of our faith is a strong one, and we are investing it into the highest and best. So we take a moment now in the silence to listen to the good word. There is only one. I am part of the one. The one is all of me.
Infinite Spirit, source of all life, we are endowed with your holy light. We are connected and spirit-filled. May we remember to live by your will. You have provided our every need. May we forgive all errors perceived. May we in darkness turn to the light, seeking your wisdom, vision and light, trusting your guidance in every ordeal. The power of love, our sword and our shield. Your power and glory to be revealed. Sing praise to your Spirit forever.
Lucille did such a good job with that song. Her and Daniel should. Okay, spiritual practice of the week. On your tables, there's some write-ups called the Good Words Club. And you are invited to become a member of this exclusive club where you commit. Start with 30 days to only using good words, positive words, and to refrain from the bad words. We do have soap bars available if you need any help with that. So you can take that with you and take the pledge, become a member. I'll put it online for any of you that are doing virtually. I'll put it on Facebook and also put it up on our website. But the bottom line prayer for this group is over here on the corner. Let's affirm that together. Let there be good words on earth, and let it begin with me. Maybe one more time. Let there be good words on earth, and let it begin with me. And Sybil, I'm going to invite you back up here because circumstances, yeah, come on up. Yeah. We were having another soloist this week, and they are healing in their household. So it's a good practice to heal.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a while. All yours.
This is the time during our Sunday service when we engage in the sacred practice of generosity. With the pages of 2022 just beginning to unfold, we imagine a year of wonder in front of us. Each of our lives will be touched by the generosity of spirit expressed through family, friends, and complete strangers. We open our hearts in deep appreciation for the good that is even now coming into our lives. Our Unity community is also in anticipation of appreciation for the support coming to Unity through many channels, online, the mail, and love offerings shared in person. Our circle of generosity includes an act of gratitude for these many gifts as we share our gifts with others. This month, you will be nominating and voting on which organizations we are guarded to support this year. Let us take a moment to immerse ourselves in deepest gratitude by singing, I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Generosity is a sacred exchange of giving and receiving. Because we are so blessed, it is with joy and enthusiasm that we as individuals become part of the flow as share of our blessings to complete this circle. If you are sharing in person, you can leave your love offering envelope in the glass jar on the table when you are complete with blessing it. The ushers will collect them following the service. If you are sharing online through the mail, allow the joy of generosity to flow through you, and you too make this loving act of generosity. Let us set our consciousness of blessings and celebrate the circle of prosperity by affirming together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. To close our service today, we will join together in singing the peace song, followed by the prayer of protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. With me, this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.